This is ITV1. Time right now for the test.
53-year-old Bev Hawes never misses a chance to indulge his 15-year passion for surfing. Bev's obvious expertise in the water is a much-needed confidence booster. It helps him forget the problem which he has denied all his life: dyslexia. For Bev, reading, writing and spelling are his worst nightmare.
The careers interview, I was told by the teacher I'd be lucky if I had a job sweeping a factory floor, and that was awful.
For 25 years, Bev worked as a DJ and club manager, but never admitted his dyslexia to his employers. Now, all that has to change, with the prospect of long-term unemployment looming.
Because I'm ashamed I'm dyslexic. I'd never admitted I was dyslexic until about a month ago.
To try and improve his literacy skills, Bev is going to take part in a new and radical 6-week course of treatment.
Dot, mop, top.
Mop top.
Hopefully, he will then be ready to take his test and realise a dream by writing an article for a leading surf magazine. Research has now clearly identified dyslexia as a learning difficulty. Now, sadly, this hasn't always been the case. When Bev was at school, dyslexia wasn't recognised, and so he was simply labelled as either backward or stupid. Now, with little or no support, he very quickly lagged behind the rest of his classmates. Now, Bev has kept his dyslexia a secret for a long time, always afraid of how he may be judged if he were to bring it out into the open. But now Bev has had enough, and he's prepared to tackle his dyslexia head-on. Bev is a keen surfer, so there's only one place he wanted to meet, and that, of course, was the coast. So we both headed off to ride the waves. Do you know what, Bev? With a combined age of 98?
Yeah.
I reckon.
Won't say it too loud, though.
I reckon we deserve a break from the surf.
We did well there.
I mean, I've noticed, apart from the fact you're a little better than I am, but also you're very
I'm younger.
That's what it is. You're also very confident in the water. And what I'm interested in knowing is, you know, how confident are you in everyday life, bearing in mind that you've lived so many years with dyslexia?
I've always tried to cover it up. Because I'm ashamed I'm dyslexic. I'd never admitted I was dyslexic until about a month ago. It's a terrific weight on your back. I mean, at school, you were just written off as being thick if you were dyslexic.
You were branded as being thick?
Absolutely, yeah.
Which also, when you're a kid at school, can't be good for your self-esteem and self-confidence.
Well, you're at the bottom of the class. They virtually give up on you. The careers interview, I was told by the teacher I'd be lucky if I had a job sweeping a factory floor. And that was awful. You shouldn't have been in that job. You should have been sacked. But when you're told that, you've got to fight, you try harder.
Now, I know at the moment you're in a situation where you've applied for a number of jobs. How much do you put the fact that you haven't been successful finding a job down to the fact that you are dyslexic?
My bugbear is the handwriting and spelling. But if it's a written application and they do get to see you, always in the back of my mind, this feeling that this has been thick.
But just help me understand a little bit more. I mean, I sometimes have words that I can't spell. You know, there I am writing and I think, a simple word, I just go blind on it, I go blank on it. I mean, is that what dyslexia is like?
It's always evolving, it varies. I could write a document, and there'd be words like communication, invitation, any number of words, and in the first paragraph they're spelt one way, and then 2 or 3 paragraphs further on it's spelt completely different. And it's funny, you're looking at them and you think, which one's right? And you know neither of them are.
How frustrating is that?
It's a nightmare, but as I said, with a sense of humour, I've got by with it. I've always wondered if I wasn't like that, the education I could have had instead of a secondary school, maybe a grammar school, yeah. I would have loved to have gone to university.
Would you?
I couldn't even spell it the same way twice, but I'd like to have gone there. Student bar sound good.
So, Bev, if we introduce you to some people who hopefully will be able to help you with your dyslexia, how open to their methods and the new challenge will you be?
You'd have to be totally open and honest, otherwise it wouldn't work. You'd be kidding yourself and go into it confident that you were going to succeed. You'd grasp it with both hands, literally.
You would?
It'd be a challenge, but it'd be one that I would win.
Being dyslexic means Bev is not alone. There are up to 6 million dyslexics in Britain, which is approximately 10% of the nation. Dyslexia affects the reading and writing of people of all ages and from all walks of life, and has nothing to do with an individual's intelligence. Once diagnosed, it's possible for a dyslexic to improve their literacy skills through multisensory training and educational programmes. But ultimately, there is no cure for dyslexia. Bev has enrolled in one of the newest and most radical courses now available. Hi, I've come to see So you, I went Jim along to meet Jim Hines to find out a little more about what lies ahead. Jim, tell me about the BrightStar programme.
BrightStar is a computer-based technology that uses visual stimulation to train the brain structures to work more efficiently in dyslexic children and adults. And that's important because what is widely known out there is that a dyslexic brain isn't working efficiently, and that's why they have so much trouble in a whole series of literacy skills such as reading, spelling and writing.
Most people would know perhaps that dyslexia is to do with problems concerning, spelling or handwriting or reading, but are there associated symptoms as well?
There are symptoms such as short-term memory problems, difficulties in concentration and difficulties in organising yourselves. Another typical symptom people talk about is they know the answer, but they just can't retrieve that information quickly enough. So it's this incredible sense of frustration. But what's universally seems to be the case with dyslexics is also this lack of self-confidence and self-esteem.
How confident are you, Jim, that this course is going to help Bev?
We would never say there is one answer that fits everybody, but what we would say is that we are getting excellent results in children and adults, and we would definitely expect Bev to improve.
Today is the first session of the 6-week course.
You just need to place a split between each.
Bev's teacher is Suzanne. Besides tests for reading, writing and spelling, Suzanne also tests Bev's short-term memory and phonological awareness, the way in which he understands the sounds that certain letters make.
Lip, sip.
Dot, mop, top.
Dock, mop, top. Dock, top. Mock top. Sorry. Mock top.
2 intense hours later, it's over. But how does Bev think he did?
I felt totally confident all the way through. I generally do, but it depends how it turns out when they mark it. I think I did quite well.
Definitely some difficulties with his spelling, because that test really stressed him completely.
I thought a lot of it would be psychometric tests or just based around spelling and the quality of my writing, and the writing hasn't even come into it yet.
Definitely some short-term memory difficulties.
You had something like 30 seconds. I thought I could think about 5 rhymes, and the second one marginally better, but it was when you're suddenly put under that pressure.
And some difficulties with his reading as well.
Reading, 98%, almost second to none, unless it was a very technical word.
The results came through a couple of days later and showed that Bev's spelling age was equivalent to that of an 11-year-old. His word processing and phonological awareness skills were low, and contrary to his own beliefs, his reading accuracy was poor. To encourage Bev in his efforts to come to terms with his dyslexia, I took him to meet Olympic gold medalist Duncan Goodhue, who is dyslexic and not afraid to say he is in public. So Duncan, when did you first realise that something was wrong?
Well, when I was 8 years old, I was in an English class. The teacher walked in and said, "Duncan, can you read?" So I got up and tried to read. And after the first couple of words, I stumbled and started to halt. And I tried again. It didn't take long for the rest of the class to start laughing at me. I then knew something was wrong.
I mean, you're making light of it and joking about it now, but when you were 8 years old, how did that feel?
Oh, it was horrendous. I mean, it just stabbed into your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and it creates scars you never really get over. I mean, I now speak in public a lot. I do a lot of motivational and team building. Still, when I have to read something from a book out loud, I get nervous. And that's how long it's lasted.